This Irish tradition is known for being the fastest and deadliest field sport in the world. Shots are clocked at speeds close to that of an F1 car, and they have almost twice the amount of injuries as Canada's most violent sport, ice hockey. But why hasn't this sport received global fandom like the rest? I'm flying from my home in Canada to find out why and experience one of Ireland's oldest Gaelic sports, hurling. Good afternoon, we are just heading into Parnell Park, going to catch our very first ever hurling game. Dublin is taking on Wexford today for the semi-finals, I believe it's called, of like the senior championship. I could be wrong on that though. I'm not exactly well equipped on my hurling knowledge. The National Hockey League has an injury rate of about 32 injuries per 1,000 hours of playing time, but hurling has 61.75 per 1,000 hours of playing time. So kickoff, or throw-in as they call it, is in like 45 minutes, so we'll go check out some of the pre-game activities. Cheers to a beautiful day in Dublin. A lot of fans rolling around here now in the car park, kind of almost like a little bit of a tailgate vibe, but not anything too crazy. My seats are in the terrace section, so I gotta find the terrace only entrance. I think I'm gonna enjoy this a little bit more, just on the outside before we head in. A lot of mixing and mingling with the fans too, but also the outside of the stadium, it's like cement blocks with barbed wire up all around, which has me a little bit confused. But honestly, you could not get a more gorgeous day. No wind, sun's out. I don't know if this is optimal weather for hurling, but it definitely feels like it. Oh, tight squeeze in the turnstile. All right, we're gonna get a first look at the field. I think I'm sat in the standing section of it all, but wow. What a beautiful little pitch. I think we're starting in about 10 minutes. I think I'm sat in this stand here. Unfortunately, the canteen is cash only, which I do not have. Alrighty, let me find my spot here. Looking at this warm-up here now, I still am in disbelief that they didn't start wearing helmets until 2010. Probably the biggest thing that I'm confused about right now is a lot of the fans have their own like hurling sticks and balls here at the game. So I'm like, are they getting in at some point? Or is there maybe like a event at the end of the game for fans to kind of hop on the field and partake? I am pretty sure that the way to score is by hitting it in the net or like hitting it up through the uprights in the poles. So kind of like a field goal versus like a touchdown maybe, except it's kind of like a soccer goal. I think if you get it in the soccer goal, 3 points. Through the uprights, 1. Might be wrong on that. Moment of silence for the Pope, followed up by what I'm pretty sure is the Irish national anthem. And now the throw-in's about to start. Here we go, first ever hurling match. Dublin just got their first point of the day, but I don't really know how. The formation here is also confusing me. I'm also getting a little bit like lacrosse vibes with far less protection and padding equipment. That was our first goal of the day, and I think I figured out the scoreboard here now. It's basically set into 2s based off of if you hit it through the upright or if you got a goal, and then they take those 2 numbers and they get your total score. So because Wexford only has 1 through the upright and 1 goal, that's 1 plus 3, which equals 4, and Dublin has 2 field goals per se. That's just 1 plus 1 is 2. So Wexford is up 4-2. Oh, I got this. Yeah, this is simple. Easy math. I've yet to hold a hurling ball, but I am absolutely amazed that they are just wailing on these things and catching them barehanded. Like, it looks like a softball. So the fact that they're just doing that bare hand, I gotta say probably one of the most common injuries has to be them, like broken fingers. I think maybe the biggest thing that's surprising me though, in all my travels through Europe, I think this is the first time I've genuinely seen like home and away fans sitting and mingling amongst each other together. Normally there's like an away support section and a home support section, and massive amounts of security. They always kind of keep them separate. But I mean, there's probably, I think, a good like 7,000 to 8,000 here today. And they're all just mixed in with each other. You know what I think is absolutely ridiculous is if you look at the goalie, how much or how little protection they're wearing. Like, they don't look like any different of a player. So all that protection for shots that can get up to, I think, like 180 kilometers an hour. Oh man. What a goal. Honestly, that reminded me a lot of like, you know, stick handling, a McDavid-esque goal. You cut through, little shimmy shake into the back of the net. That was cool. And Wexford tied the game with that. That's so interesting though, because Wexford has only scored twice, the only 2 goals in this game. But they're actually down by 1 because Dublin's just hitting field goals. It seems like strategically or like gameplay wise, it's much easier to hit those field goals. But yeah, like 2 goals that Wexford has scored. Brilliant in my opinion, really, really cool. Okay, so that is halftime. I think it was a 35-minute half with an additional 2 minutes. Overall, first impressions of the first half, I mean, I think at least a half a dozen times the trainer had to run it onto the field because somebody was down hurt. So definitely really physical. It almost seems like the most dangerous mix of hockey, baseball, rugby, soccer, all mixed into one, and you're just battling through that. Lacrosse even as well too, with no equipment except for a little helmet. I will say too, one of the things that I am confused about, as a Newfoundlander in Canada, I mean, 80% of our population in the 1800s was like Irish descendants. And I didn't learn about this sport until I booked my trip to come over here and visit. So I'm like, how did we not end up hearing about this growing up? Or like, how did there not be like a little community group of like games happening in Newfoundland with all of our connections to like Irish culture? Anyways, it's really cool. I think 100% I would have played this as a kid. I will say though, it's halftime and like nobody is leaving their seats. Don't know why. The other thing I thought that I read online is that these players actually don't get paid, which I think is absolutely wild if that is the case, because there must, I don't know, putting your body on the line to that extreme with no financial compensation, kudos to them is all I'll say. Second half is officially underway and somebody is already down hurt again. I think that's honestly at least like 8 people who have gone down now. I gotta say, the more that this goes on, the more I'm loving it. It is a tight game right now, 18-17 Wexford. I am fully invested into this. And Dublin just tied it up. Listen, one thing I want to tell you though, I'm trying to land us an ESPN show. I've been traveling all around the world making these videos. It's kind of tough to do by myself, so I'm gonna utilize a network so we can keep doing more crazier episodes of these things. There's so many different cool sports from around the world that I want to get to. I think they'll notice us if we hit 100,000 subscribers. If you do me a favor, hit that button so we can land this show together. That would be greatly appreciated. No idea what that really was. It looked like a penalty shot, but he didn't go for the goal, but they were there like protecting the goal. So I don't know if it was just easier to go through the uprights there, but that close to shoot it on net with all those people in there. I don't know why he didn't do that, but I would have been absolutely petrified if I was one of those ones in the net. Kind of missed what happened there because I was taking this selfie, but I think that was a pretty pinnacle moment by the sounds of it. And now they're lining up for what I think is one of the other penalty shots again. But now there's not as many people in the goal. Look. So before there was like 5 in the goal, and now there's only 1. What a stop. What a stop. What a stop. Oh my goodness, what madness. They're calling it a goal. Everybody's up in arms. I thought that was a fantastic save. I didn't think it went in. I guess not.
No way.
Holy. What's the review? VAR? No. Play on. They're calling it a goal. I don't know about that. I think the goalie robbed them. After that controversial goal call, and now they're up by 2, this game just flipped. It was pretty mild crowd throughout all of it now, but 17 minutes into the second half, it is absolute madness here. This is crazy. I thought Wexford was dominating the whole game up until like 5 minutes ago. Wow. 4-point lead for Dublin now. That goal call on that penalty shot, whatever you want to call it, TSN turning point right now. Okay, so I think that's definitely what it is. There's like 2 types of penalties, and one penalty will allow you to have a bunch of people in the net, and then one will just straight up be the goalie. And if it's only just the goalie, it makes a lot more sense to shoot it at the net, whereas for when you have more, you go for the field goal-esque vibe thing. I think I got the hang of this. This is a brilliant game. I'm having a blast. Absolutely electric. "14 just blocked that crossover with his bare body. Didn't even flinch. Like, how are you not winced over? And that is the game. Absolutely brilliant. I may not be allowed back into Canada after saying this, but I enjoyed that just as much as a hockey game. And in all honesty, it's definitely more violent than hockey. I'm sorry, I had to say it. It's so similar with then just barely any equipment. Insane. You know what? Since we're here and everybody's doing it, let's run out onto the pitch. Now I know why everybody had their own wooden hurling paddles and balls and everything, because they come out here and they play. Everybody's out here. What a vibe. I loved it. I'm a hurling fan now through and through. I'm gonna get season tickets and everything. I love this. He's got absolute great access to the players, all the fans, getting their autographs. This is delightful. This is absolute madness. So much on the go here. There's some guys out here who are like massive fan favorites, like big crowds, kids getting their autographs and everything like that. Holy smokes. I love this access to the players though. Hey man, quick question for you. I'm from Canada. This was my first hurling match ever. What's one thing you want Canadians in the world to know about hurling? What should people know?
That it's the greatest sport on earth.
Honestly, I'm impressed. I think it's tougher than ice hockey. Traveled all the way from Canada.
Did you enjoy the game?
It was brilliant. This is actually, as a Canadian, I'm like, okay, hurling is like the more, honestly, potentially the more violent version of ice hockey, which we like to brag as, being the most toughest sport. What makes hurling just so physical and tough?
It's a very physical game. The tackling is a very important part of it. And a lot of the time, the team that's more physical and gets on top of the tackling wins the game. So that's why I think lads are very aggressive.
That was absolutely brilliant. I am now hurling's new #1 fan. In the meantime, stay best kind.